What's poppin'? And welcome right back to the Culture Wire, your frontline for celebrity truth. And if you click this thumbnail, I need you to lock all the way in right now, because what's about to unfold in the next few minutes is not gossip, it is not tea, it is not a rumor floating around a group chat. This is a full-blown industry meltdown caught on live camera, in high definition, with timestamps, receipts, and a body count of reputations that reads like the ending of a season finale. Nobody was ready for. By the time we wrap this thing up, you are going to be sitting in your seat with your jaw somewhere near the carpet, wondering how in the world a single 7-day stretch produced this much unfiltered chaos across so many different corners of the entertainment world at exactly the same moment. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Before I even get into it, let me warn you. If you have a weak stomach for celebrity dysfunction, if you cannot handle watching grown adults with millions of dollars in the bank make choices that would embarrass a teenager, if you get emotional watching people burn their own lives down in high definition, this video is not going to be an easy watch. Because what I'm about to lay out for you tonight involves fractured bones and mysterious dental damage, flashing red and blue lights on a live stream, screaming children off camera, a federal phone dump that reads like the outline of a screenplay, and a woman walking out of a mansion in a wig so perfectly styled you'd think she was heading to a red carpet premiere instead of a breakup. Buckle in. Ain't no way you're gonna believe some of this. And yet every single piece of it is confirmed, on the record, and already tearing the internet in half. Let's start with the queen of confusion herself, Ari Fletcher. Ari Fletcher, 31 years old, mother, entrepreneur, alleged fashion icon, depending on who you ask, and the kind of household name that trends on this app whenever she so much as posts a bowl of cereal. Decided that her Sunday afternoon activity was going to be knocking somebody's teeth clean out of their mouth. That's not me being dramatic. That's not me putting words in her mouth. That's Ari Fletcher's own words on Ari Fletcher's own page, published to Ari Fletcher's own millions of followers. Ari Fletcher hopped on her page and posted a picture of her hand wrapped up like she just came out of an urgent care visit, and the caption underneath read, and I'm reading this directly, word for word, exactly as Ari Fletcher wrote it. Fractured my hand knocking teeth out. We'll chat about it later. Be for real. Ari Fletcher. Ari Fletcher, be for real with me right now. I need somebody, anybody in the comments section, to explain to me what kind of environment a 31-year-old adult with a full life, a full brand, and a full calendar is walking into where the outcome of the evening is a fractured hand and somebody else missing their dental work. Ari Fletcher is not 17 years old at a house party in the suburbs. Ari Fletcher is not a rookie in this game. Ari Fletcher is a grown woman with a business empire, a child, a mortgage somewhere on a very impressive zip code, and an entire personal brand built on being the standard for how to level up out of struggle and into stability. And yet here Ari Fletcher is, in the year of our Lord 2026, out here allegedly throwing haymakers like she's back in high school detention. Peep this carefully. Her nails were still perfect. You feel me on this? The nails were still absolutely perfect. Now, if you have ever swung on somebody in your life, and I mean actually swung with real intent behind it, you know good and well the first casualty of any real fist fight is your manicure. Acrylics chip. Tips snap off. Nail beds bleed. That's the physics of it. That's the biology of it. That is what happens when a fully painted hand collides with a set of human teeth. And yet Ari Fletcher's acrylics were laid. Ari Fletcher's acrylics were pristine. Ari Fletcher's acrylics looked like they had just walked out of a nail salon on Rodeo Drive. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I want to be clear about that. I am not accusing Ari Fletcher of lying about anything. What I am saying is that there is a very reasonable version of this story where the fracture came from Ari Fletcher tripping over her own heels, catching herself the wrong way on the ground, and the whole teeth out line was creative marketing added on top for the storyline. Because Ari Fletcher understands one thing better than almost any other influencer alive today, and that one thing is engagement. Ari Fletcher knows engagement the way a chess grandmaster knows the board. And nothing on this internet drives engagement faster than a rumor about a fight where the details are just blurry enough to fuel every comment section for a week and a half. Ari Fletcher played the algorithm and the algorithm bowed down. Ain't that the truth though? But even if the story is exactly as Ari Fletcher says it is, even if Ari Fletcher really did walk into a room and remove another person's teeth from their skull with her bare hand, my question remains the same. Where in the world do you have to be at 31 years old to end up in a fistfight in the first place? Because I don't go to those parties. You don't go to those parties. Ari Fletcher must be walking into rooms most of us have never even seen the door to. And if this is what those rooms produce, we should all be very, very grateful we never got the invite. That is a room to stay out of. That is a room to walk past. That is a room to unfollow, unfriend, and unpin from your mental map of the city. Ari Fletcher can have that room. Ari Fletcher can have all of that room. The rest of us are good over here. Let's move on, because Ari Fletcher's fractured hand is honestly the mildest thing that happened this week. The main event, the reason your algorithm is currently on fire, the reason every gossip account on every platform is publishing at the same time on the same subject, comes from the Blueface and Chrisean Rock story, or as I've been calling it lately, the Rock and Blue Circus, because at this point that's what it is. It's a traveling circus with two ringleaders, a rotating cast of enablers, and children who did not sign up for any of it. Somebody has to say it out loud, and I guess tonight that somebody is me. So here's what happened. Blueface and Chrisean Rock. Chrisean Rock, who by the way has done everything short of skywriting a formal announcement to convince the world that she was finished with this man forever. Chrisean Rock, who cut records about being finished. Chrisean Rock, who cried on live streams about being finished. Chrisean Rock, who gave interviews about being finished. Chrisean Rock, who has convinced entire congregations of internet strangers to pray for her healing, apparently decided that being finished forever means going live on stream together in the same house, in the same room, on the same couch, with the same energy that got them in trouble the last 17 times. Bonnie and Clyde on the Family Channel. Somebody had to say it, and somebody has to keep saying it. The reunion tour is back on. Ticket sales were never announced, and nobody bought a ticket, but the audience showed up anyway because the algorithm delivered them straight to the door. Now the stream itself started out looking like every other Blueface stream you have ever seen if you have ever wandered into a Blueface stream. Loud, chaotic, a little bit pointless, a little bit funny if you're into that kind of low-stakes internet chaos. There was talking over each other. There was arguing about nothing. There was somebody in the background trying to get on camera for their own 5 seconds of algorithmic sunlight. Standard Blueface content. But then, right in the middle of whatever nonsense Blueface and Chrisean Rock were entertaining themselves with that night, the badges rolled through. Yeah, the badges. As in, law enforcement. As in, uniformed officers standing in the doorway of Blueface-owned residence while the man was on live camera with his phone up, his ring light on, and his audience of thousands watching in real time. The Blueface stream ended not with a wave, not with a goodbye, not with a "we'll catch you next time." It ended with the flashing of blue and red lights bouncing off the walls of Blueface's own living room, and the sound of somebody in the background screaming at the top of their lungs. And that scream is what I need you to focus on for a minute, because that scream tells you everything you need to know about what was actually happening in that house before the cameras arrived. In the background of the Blueface live stream, muffled but absolutely audible if you turn your volume up, you can hear a voice yelling about a child, about where the kid is, about what these two adults might have done to the kid. I'm not going to speculate wildly. I'm not going to draw a conclusion I cannot back up with facts, but I will tell you what I heard with my own ears, and what I heard sounded like a very legitimate concern about the well-being of a small child inside a house where two adults were behaving in ways that would concern any reasonable, sober person watching from the outside. Straight up, why in the world do you have children around this environment? Straight up, I understand chaos. I understand two adults choosing chaos for themselves. That is their business. That is their bed to lie in. That is their choice to make as consenting grown people. But the moment a child is added to the equation, the moment a toddler is in the same house where the police are being called and the streams are ending in handcuffs, that is no longer just two adults being messy. That is child endangerment territory. That is family services territory. That is the kind of situation where the state steps in and the courts start making decisions the parents wish they had made themselves 10,000 streams ago. And here's the thing that really gets me. Blueface and Chrisean Rock are not new to any of this. This is not their first stream. This is not their first police visit. This is not their first custody scare. This is not their first appearance on a gossip channel with commentary and clip reels attached. If anybody in the world should have learned by now that cameras plus chaos plus children equals consequences, it is Blueface and Chrisean Rock. And yet here we are again. The rock and blues circus, one more time, live and in high definition, with the same script and the same cast and the same predictable ending. It is exhausting to watch. It is exhausting to write about. It is exhausting to comment on. And yet the algorithm keeps demanding another episode. The stream got wilder from there. Blueface, in his infinite wisdom, decided the best way to end the situation was to physically pick Chrisean Rock up and carry her back through the house like she was a toddler having a tantrum in the middle of a grocery store. Now some people watched that clip and thought it was sweet. Some people watched that clip and thought it was some sort of twisted romantic gesture. Some people watched that clip and typed out captions about how he handles her like a real man. Let me tell you what I actually saw when I watched that clip. I saw a man carrying a woman past a room where his other girlfriend was allegedly upstairs stuck at home with a swollen belly and a suitcase full of complications she never signed up for. That is not romance. That is not affection. That is a man trying to control the visual of a chaotic moment on a live stream watched by hundreds of thousands of people who are now going to clip it, meme it, freeze frame it, react video it, and repost it until the end of time. Blueface was doing damage control in real time. Blueface was directing a music video in the middle of a crime scene. Blueface was playing chess with the internet while the pieces were still on fire. Which brings us to the third woman in this whole equation. Nevaeh, Blueface's other girlfriend. Nevaeh, whose name, if you had never noticed before, spells heaven backwards. And if that is not one of the most poetic little coincidences in modern celebrity history, then I do not know what qualifies. Nevaeh has apparently decided that enough is officially enough. Nevaeh has packed her bags. Nevaeh has left the building. Nevaeh, allegedly pregnant, allegedly done, allegedly finished for real this time, has walked out of Blueface residence in a full glow-up, hair styled to the gods, outfit coordinated head to toe, sunglasses on the bridge of her nose, looking like a woman who has spent the last month planning her exit down to the last shoe buckle. And of course, the comment section did exactly what the comment section always does. Somebody wrote, and this is the one that took over the internet within about 45 minutes of the clip going up, she decides to look good right when she's leaving. Another comment underneath that one read, it took Chrisean's man to make her comb her hair and clean herself up. On the level, some of the meanest observations on the entire internet live in these comment sections, and I say that as somebody who reads them for a living, professionally, on the clock. But there's a truth buried in that meanness that a lot of people don't want to talk about out loud because it hits a little too close to their own front door. Because here's the reality. A lot of people, women and men both, decide to look their absolute best when they are meeting somebody, when they are chasing somebody, when they are trying to lock somebody down for the long term. And then the moment the relationship is secured, the moment the ring is on the finger, the moment the lease is signed, everything starts to slip. The gym membership goes cold. The haircut appointments get skipped. The nice clothes go into the back of the closet under a pile of maybe later. And then one day the relationship falls apart at the seams, and suddenly, the glow-up returns from wherever it was hiding. Suddenly the wig is laid. Suddenly the eyebrows are threaded. Suddenly the lashes are on, and the jewelry is out, and the perfume is spritzed. Suddenly the person you spent years loving watches you walk out of the front door looking like the best version of yourself they never got to enjoy while they were still holding your hand. I'm not saying that is exactly what happened here with Nevaeh. I do not know Nevaeh personally. I have never sat across a table from her. I do not know the private mechanics of her relationship with Blueface. But I will tell you this, and I want everybody in this comment section to hear it clearly. If you are in a relationship right now, and you know somewhere deep down that you have been getting comfortable, letting yourself go, telling yourself the old lie that they should love me for who I am, effort is not required. I want you to hear me clearly for a second. Your partner does love you for who you are. That part is true. But your partner also deserves to see the effort. Your partner also deserves to see that you care enough to try. Because if the only time you decide to look your best is the day you leave, that is not love. That is marketing. You feel me on this? Fix your shirt. Fix your hair. Take 15 minutes out of your day to put yourself together for the person who is investing time, energy, patience, and years into you. Ain't no way you should be walking around your own house looking like a clearance rack at a going out of business sale for the person who is showing up for you consistently every single day. Effort is not a wedding gift you deliver one time and then never revisit for the rest of your life. Effort is a daily deposit into an emotional account you cannot afford to overdraw without consequences. That account has an interest rate. That account has withdrawal limits. That account will freeze on you if you neglect it long enough. And listen, this applies to everybody in the sound of my voice tonight. No exceptions. I do not leave my own house without making sure I look presentable. I do not even walk around inside my own house looking careless, because at any moment my partner might glance up from her phone and I want her to think, okay, my man is still that guy. My man is still the person I signed up for. My man is still putting effort in even when nobody else is watching. That is the standard. That should be the standard for everybody. If you have found somebody in this crazy world who has chosen to invest in you, honor that choice by continuing to show up as the person they originally chose. Do not do a bait and switch on the person you love. Do not sell them a pilot episode and then hand them a rerun for the rest of the season. All right, sermon over for a minute. Let me get back to the circus, because there is more circus tonight than there is time to cover it. Meanwhile, while all of this Blueface and Nevaeh and Chrisean Rock chaos is happening, the internet has already collectively decided that Nevaeh will be back inside that same house within a matter of days. That is the running commentary in every single comment thread across every single platform. She'll be back. She always comes back. That's what these women do. And you know what? Statistically, they might be right. Because there's a certain kind of relationship where the exit is never really an exit at all. It is just an intermission. A dramatic pause between acts of the same play with the same cast in the same set. Nevaeh may be walking out with her hair done and her bags packed and her sunglasses on. But by the time this video reaches 1 million views on this channel, do not be shocked if there is already fresh footage of Nevaeh back inside the exact same house she just made a full production of leaving. And that is the cycle. That is the loop. That is the reason the algorithm is throwing this content at you in the first place. Because chaos with a return address performs better than any other genre of celebrity content on this platform, and the people at the center of it understand that math better than we do. Blueface understands the economics of his own drama better than most of us understand our own household budgets. Chrisean Rock understands the streaming numbers on her own meltdowns better than most artists understand their own royalty statements. Nevaeh, whether she realizes it or not, has just given the internet a movie trailer worth about 6 figures in ad revenue for whichever gossip channel breaks the sequel first. Now hold up. Hold up for one more minute. I need to switch lanes completely because there is a story breaking right now that makes everything else we have talked about tonight look like a warm-up act, an appetizer, a trailer for the main feature. And that story involves Lil Durk. That's right, Lil Durk. And what I'm about to lay out for you in the next several minutes is going to require you to sit up in your chair, put your phone down, and actually pay attention, because this is not gossip. This is not entertainment news. This is federal. This has courtroom energy on it. This has the government produces exhibits into evidence energy on it. Federal prosecutors have reportedly gained access to a phone belonging to Lil Durk, and the contents of that pocket surveillance rectangle we all walk around with all day, every day, are being described by people close to the case as, in their exact word choice, damning. That is the word being used. Damning. Now, if you have been following the timeline of this saga even loosely from a distance, you already know the backstory. King Von, one of Lil Durk's closest collaborators and a foundational figure in the OTF movement, lost his life several years ago in a shooting incident involving a rapper commonly referred to as Lil Tim. Lil Tim was the one accused of pulling the trigger that night. Lil Tim was later released after questions around self-defense arose during the legal proceedings. And ever since that release, there has been quiet speculation online. Very quiet, very careful, very whispered speculation. That people connected to King Von's camp never truly let that situation sit still. Never truly closed that book. Never truly moved on the way the public was told they moved on. What this phone allegedly reveals is that Lil Durk did not just quietly grieve the loss of King Von in private the way the outside world assumed he did. According to the reports coming out of the federal filings, the device belonging to Lil Durk contained messages inquiring about Lil Tim's release timeline. Messages asking around about the address of Lil Tim's court-ordered house arrest location. A screenshot of a promotional poster advertising Quando Rondo's concert dated all the way back to 2021, saved to the camera roll and preserved. And, on top of all of that, a social media post from May 3, 2023, that documented in real time the exact moment Quando Rondo was involved in a shooting at a gas station. The same shooting where Quando Rondo's own cousin, a young artist known as Lil PB, lost his life directly in front of him at the pump. Read that again if you have to. Screenshots, addresses, concert posters saved to a personal camera roll, social media receipts dated to the day and time. Ain't no way. If any single piece of any of this holds up under courtroom cross-examination, this is not just a vague accusation of retaliation being floated in a tabloid. This is an accusation with a paper trail so precise, so time-stamped, so digitally preserved, that it might as well have already been placed inside a manila folder labeled Exhibit A and handed to a jury. Lil Durk might as well have recorded a selfie video narrating the entire plot from beginning to end and uploaded it to a public account. That is the level of digital evidence we are apparently talking about here. Now I want to be extremely careful with the way I am framing all of this, because Lil Durk has not been convicted of anything in a court of law, and every single one of the claims we are discussing tonight is exactly that, an allegation being made by prosecutors, and proven and untested. Lil Durk is entitled to due process. Lil Durk is entitled to a competent legal defense. Lil Durk is entitled to the presumption of innocence like every other American citizen, no matter how famous or how wealthy or how surrounded by evidence. But the court of public opinion does not wait for verdicts, and the court of public opinion is currently reading these reports and forming very specific, very final conclusions about what was allegedly happening on that phone in the days, weeks, months, and years leading up to now. What frustrates me about this whole situation, and I want to say this next part with as much respect and as much sober honesty as I can, is that we are watching an entire generation of young Black artists with the raw talent and the genuine platform to change the entire trajectory of their families for generations to come, disappear one by one into cycles that were completely, 100%, avoidable from the beginning. King Von was one of the most gifted lyricists of his entire generation. Quando Rondo had a movement, a fan base, a sound. Lil PB was just beginning to open his own doors. Lil Durk built an entire label out of absolute nothing with his own two hands. Blueface once had one of the most memorable debut runs modern hip-hop has seen in the last decade. Chrisean Rock had a stage, a spotlight, a story arc that could have gone anywhere. And what are we collectively doing with any of it? What are we, as a culture, actually building out of all that raw material? They could have handled every last one of these disputes on a video game controller in their own living rooms. They could have squared it away on a chessboard over a bottle of water. They could have squared it away on a basketball court with $100 on the game. They could have squared it away in a rap battle in a booth with real punchlines and real bars and real crowds voting on the winner. Instead, families are burying children. Instead, mothers are watching their sons get carried out of live streams by federal agents wearing bulletproof vests. Instead, the algorithm is being fed a steady, uninterrupted diet of Black tragedy dressed up as entertainment, and the platforms are cashing very real checks on the packaging of it all. I am going to keep it 100 with you right now, because that is what this frontline has always done. A lot of people watch this kind of content because it makes them feel better about their own lives in a strange, hidden way. I get it. When you see millionaires burning it all down on live camera in front of the whole world, it makes your regular Tuesday afternoon feel a little more manageable. It is the same psychology that made previous generations of people crowd around a television set to watch tornado footage roll across the plains. There is a strange, uncomfortable comfort in watching a disaster you are not personally standing inside of. But I want to challenge you tonight, genuinely challenge you, not lecture you, to ask yourself what part of you actually needs to see any of this. Because if the honest answer is anything less than, I am learning something real from this, it might be time to close a couple of tabs and go outside for a walk. Now let me swing back around to the main story, because I know you did not come here for a life coaching session or a Sunday school lesson. You came here for the receipts. So let me lay out exactly where I think this whole Blueface arrest situation is likely headed based on everything we already know from every previous cycle. Historically speaking, Blueface has been detained and released multiple times, and this most recent situation seems to be trending in a similar direction based on the reports we have available right now. Reports suggest the incident was quickly reclassified as a misunderstanding. No charges were pursued in the immediate aftermath, and Blueface was allowed to return to the exact same residence where the whole drama started. Same house. Same girlfriend upstairs allegedly waiting. Same chaos already reloading itself for the next round. Which means, realistically, we are looking at a rerun of a show we have already seen. This is not a season finale of the Blueface story. This is a mid-season episode of a show that has already been renewed for another dozen chapters at minimum. Blueface will stream again by the end of the week. Chrisean Rock will appear on that stream again by the end of the month. Nevaeh will return, or she will not. And either way, the comment section will find a way to make the ending look like a plot twist worth clipping. The Rock and Blue Circus does not shut down. The Rock and Blue Circus just tours new cities, hires new opening acts, and prints new tickets for the next show. And Ari Fletcher. Ari Fletcher will tell us the full story of that alleged fight when Ari Fletcher decides she feels like telling us the full story, and not 1 second earlier than that. Ari Fletcher understands that a slow drip of information is worth about 10 times more than a full confession delivered all at once. Ari Fletcher will milk this fractured hand and this mysterious teeth-out claim for another 2 weeks of engagement minimum. And by the time we finally hear the actual, complete details of what really happened that night, we will already be halfway into another storyline entirely with another cast of celebrities. That is how Ari Fletcher plays this game. Ari Fletcher is a lot of things people love to argue about, but a bad businesswoman is absolutely not on that list. Let me hit you with one more thing before we close this whole conversation out, because there is a piece of this story I do not want to skip over quickly. In the middle of the Blueface arrest footage, in the middle of all the chaos, in the middle of the flashing lights and the officers standing in the doorway and the phones pointed at the front hallway, somebody in the background is heard yelling about a child. And I keep coming back to that specific moment in the audio. I keep replaying it in my head at 3 in the morning. Because in every single one of these celebrity meltdowns we cover on this frontline, there is a child in the room somewhere off camera who did not ask for any of this to be their story. There is a toddler whose only memory of their own parents is going to be footage saved on strangers' phones. There is a baby whose baby book is going to be an unlisted YouTube playlist. There is a small human being whose bedtime story, when they are old enough to search their own last name, is going to be a highlight reel of the worst decisions 2 adults ever made together in front of an audience. You feel me on this? These children did not sign the release form. These children did not consent to being extras in somebody else's brand meltdown. And if there is a single takeaway I want you to leave this entire video with tonight, it is this. Every adult who is old enough to click record on a live stream is old enough to think about the young eyes who will one day rewatch that footage and decide exactly what kind of person their parent actually was on their worst night. That responsibility does not disappear just because there is a camera on. That responsibility actually gets heavier because there is a camera on, because the footage does not go away, because the internet is a museum that never closes and never deletes an exhibit. All right. I need to wrap this thing up before I turn into a full-blown Sunday morning preacher on you. But before I go, let me hit you with the roll call real quick, because that is tradition on this frontline. Shout out to everybody down in the comments from last night. I read every single one of your notes. I saw every single new subscription that came through, and I appreciate every one of you who has been rocking with this frontline since day 1 of this operation. You are the exact reason this channel eats. You are the exact reason we do this thing every single week. Never, ever take that for granted on my end. Shout out to the folks who have been messaging me directly about the faith conversations we have been having on the side channel over the last few weeks. I hear you, I appreciate you, and yes, we're going to keep having those conversations, because there is a version of this celebrity commentary business that pretends morality does not exist at all, and I flat out refuse to run that version of the show. Every story we cover on this frontline is also, underneath the surface, a story about choices, and choices are moral by definition. Ain't no way around that fact no matter how you slice it. If you want commentary without a conscience, there are 1,000 other channels for that. This one is not one of them. And to my longtime rockers, the ones who have been here since the channel had 50 subscribers and a webcam that could barely focus its own lens, you already know. You already know what time it is. You already know the deal. You already know what this frontline stands for. The frontline moves forward because of you. The frontline exists because of you. The Frontline will still be here when the algorithm changes its mind for the 10th time because of you. Everything we build here is built on the backs of a small group of loyal people who decided a long time ago that this voice was worth returning to. I do not forget that. I will not forget that. Before I sign off completely for the night, I need you to do 3 things for me. Just 3. Nothing complicated. Number 1. Leave me your take in the comments below this video. Do you personally believe Ari Fletcher actually knocked somebody's teeth out with her bare hand? Or do you think that whole line was a marketing move designed to keep her name trending for another news cycle? Do you believe Nevaeh is actually done with Blueface for good this time? Or will she be back inside that exact same house by the end of the week the same way she has been every other time? Do you believe Lil Durk is going to walk out of this federal situation clean? Or is the paper trail on that phone too heavy to carry this time around? Drop your take honestly. Do not sugarcoat it. Do not filter yourself. I am reading every single comment tonight personally. Number 2. Hit the subscribe button if you have not already done that, and go ahead and turn on that notification bell while you are down there, because the second any one of these stories develops even 1 inch further, I am dropping an immediate follow-up video breaking it down. You do not want to be the very last person in your group chat trying to catch up on what happened next while everybody else is already 10 steps ahead of you. Get the notifications turned on. Stay ahead of the curve. This is a moving target, and I am chasing it in real time. Number 3, and this is honestly the most important one of the 3, and the one I want you to actually act on tonight. Tell somebody in your real life you love them before you go to sleep. Just do it. Send the text. Make the call. Walk down the hallway. Because in a week where we all watched grown adults publicly implode on camera, where we watched a mother pack her bags and walk out on video, where we watched a rapper's own personal phone become the biggest witness the government could have hoped for against him, the reminder is right there in front of all of us. The people in your actual life, the ones sleeping under your actual roof, the ones on the other end of the phone when the world is falling apart, are more important than any of this celebrity noise. The relationships you have off-camera matter infinitely more than any of the ones we watched crumble on camera tonight in front of a live audience of millions. Ain't that the truth, though? Ain't that the whole truth right there? All right, that is the Frontline for tonight, my people. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for locking in. Thank you for choosing to spend part of your evening with me and this channel over every other option the algorithm was throwing at you. My name is your host. This has been the Culture Wire, your Frontline for celebrity truth, and I will absolutely catch you on the very next one. Because trust me on this, with the way this week is already unfolding across every corner of the entertainment world, the next episode is coming faster than any of us are actually ready for. Ari Fletcher will speak again. Blueface will stream again. Chrisean Rock will surface again. Nevaeh will make a decision one way or the other. Lil Durk's legal team will respond. And this Frontline will be right here breaking every single piece of it down the second it hits the timeline. Stay sharp out there. Stay grounded out there. Stay loyal to the people who show up for you off camera. And stay locked in with the Culture Wire, your Frontline for celebrity truth. I love y'all for real. Peace.